So I have been talking to empty air for a while. Yay! Thank you for letting me know. I'm so sorry. This is going to go down as a how not to do a live stream. Let me go back a little bit then. So essentially, I've been wanting to share a little bit about Tulsi Gabbard. She's one of my heroes. The reason she's one of my heroes is she put honesty and truth in front of partisanship, and likely, let's be honest, her political career is probably done, or or at least likely she'll never be president or anything quite that high up. But I just love that she voted her conscience. She did what she thought was right. And now, of course, she's the bad guy if you're a leftist, and she's a hero if you're a right winger. And I try very hard to be centrist, but sorry about that. I started this too late, and now I'm discombobulated. Thank you for your patience, guys. So, if you don't know her, she served as a congressperson from Hawaii. She was the first Hindu elected to the legislature. She ran against Biden for the Democratic nomination for president. Before all of that, she was in the military, being stationed in Iraq, and later in Kuwait as an MP platoon leader. Her highest post to date has been as vice chair of the Democratic National Committee, from which she resigned to be a part of Bernie Sanders' 2016 campaign. Not saying I'm a big fan of Bernie's, but she voted her conscience, and that's what really matters to me. According to govtrack.us, she tracks a bit left of center, with only a few of her votes going to Republican issues. She sponsored 3 bills that were enacted into law. The site itself presents no figures to back it up, but says this is typical. Most legislators sponsor only a handful that are signed into law. So, yeah, she sponsored 3 bills that were enacted. Not a lot, but she got something done. Biden was at least a co-sponsor of 28 bills that passed into law in a 36-year career, so puts it into a little bit of perspective. He had more bills passed, but that is to be expected. PBS said with the primary challenge looming, she announced in October she would not run for re-election to her Hawaii congressional seat. Gabbard's decision became public shortly after a public feud with Clinton, the 2016 Democratic presidential nominee. In a podcast interview, Clinton appeared to call her the favorite of the Russians. Where have we heard that before? This is one of the reasons why I tend to disbelieve the claims that Trump is a Russian asset, because it's kind of like the charges of one of my liberal friends chided me on one of my opinions. I thought a particular politician was a pedophile, and he was like, well, that's what everybody accuses everybody of now. It's just a random way to ad hominem somebody. Interestingly enough, this same person believes that Trump is a pedophile. I have no idea, honestly. I think that he is not. But I've been wrong before and will be again. But yes, Clinton labeled Gabbard as the favorite of the Russians, said she believed Republicans have got their eye on somebody who's currently in the Democratic Party and are grooming her to be a third-party candidate. Gabbard responded by calling Clinton the personification of the rot that has sickened the Democratic Party for so long. Hear, hear. In January, she filed a defamation lawsuit against Clinton, saying Clinton's comments were based on either her own imagination or extremely dubious conspiracy theories. I know the right has plenty of them, but don't think that the left is immune from that. That any reasonable person would know to be inherently and objectively unreliable. ABC provided the most comprehensive reporting at that time. Former Hawaii Representative Tulsi Gabbard announced she's leaving the Democratic Party, denouncing it as an elitist cabal of warmongers. In her announcement, she said, "I can no longer remain in today's Democratic Party that is now under the complete control of an elitist cabal of warmongers driven by cowardly wokeness who divide us by racializing every issue and stoke anti-white racism, actively work to undermine our God-given freedoms, are hostile to people of faith and spirituality, demonize the police and protect criminals, unless, you're a black who smokes weed. In that case, we're going to prosecute you. Sorry, I couldn't resist. Demonize the police and protect criminals at the expense of law-abiding Americans, believe in open borders, weaponize the national security state to go after political opponents, above all, dragging us ever closer to nuclear war." Here she is talking about Clinton, who is praying that the tired blogger will be half an hour late to his podcast and then start it out muted. Her prayers were answered because she is a more righteous woman than I am. Yes, what's this centrist thing you're talking about? You're either with us or against us. And I knew it was a joke. I don't know you real well, but I pretty much suspected that was a joke. I don't want to say that I'm completely abandoning my centrism. I know JPRPH1 has heard this song. There's a comedic musician in Britain named Frisbee. It's a great name. I wonder if that's his real name or if that's just his handle. But anyway, he sings about how no matter how desperately you try to be centrist, unless you agree 100% with the whole woke ideology, and yeah, I'm going to use the word woke, sorry. Unless you agree with it 100%, you're far right. And I hate to tell my friends this, but this is what is driving me further to the right. If you would just let me agree with you 80 or 90% or 60 or 50 or whatever it is, and be okay with the places where I differ with you, then I wouldn't be hopping up and down about this. But I'm silenced with hateful comments from people who are never hateful ever before. The things that I try to share are ignored and told disrespectfully that no, that debate's already been had and been won, when maybe I'm just an uninformed fool, but I've never seen the debate had until the video that I shared. And I thought it was really wonderful. I thought it was very centrist. There were actually two classical liberals. They just happened to have different ideas about the governmental treatment of the disease that shall not be named. And I don't get it. Again, I don't want to go back to the right winger I used to be. I don't want to just unquestioningly accept and believe everything that Fox says, because then I'm just the thing that I'm trying to struggle against. But Jiminy Christmas, I mean, how can you look at this world and not come to at least some similar conclusion? I mean, this woman was in the very belly of the beast. She was being groomed by the Democratic Party. She was their darling until she went up against Hillary Clinton. And if she was in an interview with Tucker Carlson. I doubt that I'll share much of it because I don't want to go too long. Although, I've got all day basically, but I don't think we're in a republic anymore. I don't think democracy is anything. We don't resemble a democracy to me at all. Yeah, I can hear my liberal friends saying all the things about Trump, and I don't doubt 60% of the things that they think are true. I guarantee you 100% or even 70% are, is not the number, but maybe as much as 60% of the things are true. But I don't think Trump's the real threat. He has done some things that I call him out on. You read the Taibbi files, and to my chagrin, he did some censorship too, but nowhere near the extent that Biden did. And does he sometimes have some pretty strong words, sometimes maybe even bordering on, if not passing the lines of hatefulness? Yes. But don't tell me that the left hasn't do it too. You have to dig, but it's out there. Okay, I guess I will share one more thing, and then I'm going to start sharing the things that she said on her video. Once upon a time when I was younger, much more of a Republican and conservative, maybe a year or two before I married PB Max, PB's, I'll let you know later maybe what that stands for. I read a philosophical book called Escape from Freedom by Eric Fromm. I kind of would like to revisit that book because I've changed so much over the last 25 years, but it was one of those interesting moments in life where, in spite of disagreeing with almost every argument he used to build up his central tenet, I still found myself agreeing with his central tenet. Acclaimed by many as the premier German social psychological work, the book states that freedom is a source of anxiety and fear, and therefore people often embrace tyranny. Think Mustache Man, because, I'm not allowed to say his name, because obviously if I say his name, I must embrace his philosophy and therefore need to be censored. Think modern presidents. Think world leaders throughout the world, from Putin to Modi, from Trudeau to Giorgia Meloni. Meloni was the one who, the famous Italian right-winger that was elected. And I noticed that we get all these news reports, the right wing is winning, and yet then they don't. And yet we're not supposed to wonder about the elections. It's really bizarre. Oddly enough, in this very blog, I'd forgotten this. I posted about how in 1912 Teddy Roosevelt was shot just before giving a speech. He began with, "Friends, I shall ask you to be as quiet as possible. I don't know whether you fully understand. I've just been shot. It takes more than that to kill a bull moose. Fortunately, I had my manuscript. I was going to make a long speech. And there's where the bullet went through, and it probably saved me from it going into my heart. The bullet is in me now, so that I cannot make a very long speech, but I will try my best." And then he talked for 90 minutes before he finally agreed to seek medical attention. I don't know if I totally agreed with all of his politics, but you know what? He was a really tough person, and I can't help but just think very highly of him. So, to date, he is the only third-party candidate. I count Lincoln as one, but I know most historians don't. He's counted as the only third-party candidate to ever get more votes than one of the duopoly candidates. I count Lincoln as a third-party candidate, partly because I'm a contrarian, and partly because it really was. It used to be the Democrats and the Whigs, and now it's the Democrats and the Republicans. Okay, so let's watch a little bit of what Tulsi had to say. She has become the darling of the right wing, and it's weird because I haven't read her book, but I've listened to enough of her speeches, and I think she's a classical liberal. And I have no problem with classical liberals. I have a problem with these hardliners that we have anymore. And of course, the truth can also be said of the other side. There certainly are too many hardliners in the Republican side too. I will admit to that. All right. Okay. Somebody is texting me on the phone. Hey, yes, talk to you later, John. Thank you for showing up. I keep forgetting if your name is John or Joseph. I just need to get it into my silly skull. This is John. Hugs from Moira. Codis Fact Search is saying, have a great day. She is a classical liberal. However, the extremes have gone so far outside of reality. Yes, not wrong. Not wrong at all. Thank you for showing up, Codis Fact Search. This video is going to be used in schools in the future for how not to do a live stream. But I will endeavor to persevere. I should have kept my blog up. I didn't show you the pictures of Tulsi in a bikini. Man. Okay, there it is. I gave my salacious. I caved in. I gave a salacious thing. And Moira says that she wishes liberals were like Tulsi. I do too. I wish, heck, I wish more Republicans were like her. I mean, heck, it isn't so much a person's politics that chaps my hide. It's closed-mindedness. It's putting yourself into an echo chamber. And I'm sure I'm probably flirting with that myself, because I'm basically in a fairly conservative pool of people. Gorilla's Random Thoughts, if you're still here, appreciate you very much, whether you are or not. Oh, yes, and greetings, Mr. Londell's Groovy Movies. One of the reasons why I wanted to do this so early-ish, I mean, I know one's not early, but as I want to be sure and get to your stream, I believe, I hope, if I have the time wrong, please correct me, but I believe you're having a stream at 3, and thank you very much for being here. I'll try to stop wasting your time. So, it's been a year since the fires in Maui, and we've forgotten so many things because the news is just a constant barrage of things. I mean, one day we have a horrible debate, and then just a few days later we have a president, a historical stepping down of a candidate. Then we have a historical assassination attempt. Then we have all kinds of revelations, and like it's almost assured, guaranteed that Trump is going to win. And then all of a sudden, no, it's Kamala who's certainly going to win. And poll numbers show that she's way ahead, and Trump is done. I mean, I think that's what's trending on, Trump is done as one of the top trending things on X. And it's really difficult to wrap your mind around what's going on right now, let alone try to remember what the heck happened last year. But a year ago there were fires in Maui, and the YouTube feed kept telling me that I needed to watch this, and I ignored it because I've been trying to watch more of the things that the creators in my community are watching. But I finally caved in, watched it, and I won't share the whole video, but I wanted to share a little bit of what she has said. I don't know if that's true, but it was bad. It was a very bad wildfire. So, oh, and I'm not sharing. Good Lord, I really mean what I'm saying. This is how not to do a stream. And yes, it is Saturday. Somehow I made it to this Saturday. And hello, Connie Cleary, the faithful woman of YouTube, the bird woman of YouTube. As Deleted Scenes would say, check out her second channel, Fluff Chick Productions. If you like birds at all, it's really fun to watch those little critters hopping around and chirping and saying stuff. Gorilla's Random Thoughts. Gotta love how both sides are convinced their side is gonna win, while simultaneously saying, yes, exactly. And in the end of the day, we're lied to so much. I don't know if it's even possible to figure out what the truth is. And frankly, I may just abandon that and become a weird talk show person that just rambles. But for whatever reason, I've been feeling passionate ever since the assassination attempt. I've started feeling passionate about that. We have got to, we've got to stop hating. I know that's tough. I know that's tough because a lot of horrible things have been done and a lot of lies have gone on. But all that hate is doing is fueling the uniparty. They're turning us against each other. Meanwhile, the Dems and the Republicans in Washington are in bed with each other, just plotting how they're going to run our lives, and they're going to basically take our rights away. And not only will they do that, but we'll love them for it. And we'll be happy, and we will own nothing and be happy. Moira Kitty says cars melting without burn marks around them. Wow. Real Waden Nation Gaming Clip says, yo, thank you for being here. I hope this is worth your time. I'll try to make it so. CODIS Fact Search. Honestly, it's an election. You are choosing a new set of masters to place their boots on your neck and ensure you continue to pay taxes. But it's okay. Most slaves want to be slaves. Simple fact. Yeah, I can't remember if I was muted or not, but I think I referenced that just a moment ago. Hopefully it actually made it through. The Eric Fromm book, Escape from Freedom, talks about that very thing. It's a simple fact of history. I know in the Bible, the Israelites, many and many a time, were like, we would have been better off to have stayed in the flesh pots of Egypt. At least we had food to eat, and we're on the verge of stoning Moses. I know, Moira Kitty, I know. I'm afraid I've been radicalized. And Moira Kitty CODIS is right. Okay, so let's see what she has to say here. Oh, wow. I am on that. Okay.
After the fire happened and went out to those affected communities. It is neighbors helping neighbors, families helping families.
I'm so glad that we came up here this morning, because I don't think anyone's description can do justice, even just the portions that we've seen, and being able to just talk to some of the local residents who are helping us share what this community really needs.
They're loading up whatever they have in their general store on these little boats and running them over to West Maui on a private boat dock, bringing food and water and medical supplies.
They have probably the most supplies of anyone, like generators. These guys are the most well equipped.
I jumped on a plane that was doing supply runs from Kahului, the main airport on Maui.
It looks empty down there right now on the road. So we're bringing in the supplies, bringing things that people need, like communications are going to be really key at this point. Hopefully everything that we're bringing can be put to really good use for the people.
To say that my heart breaks sounds too small to convey not only what I'm experiencing, but really more importantly, what this community is going through. And to
yeah, I sadly had forgotten all about this was going on, and this was another step in my thing. YouTube is censoring me. I hate that. I'm so sorry. I promise I've literally never censored anyone. I may have ignored some people, but I've never never censored anyone. But Gorilla's Random Thoughts is being censored by YouTube. I hate that. Yeah, CODIS fact search. Yeah. I am curious what your thought is. And this is Mr. Londell. He has a presentation in less than an hour. I'm going to try to get through this before then because I want to be there too. And I'm trying to, he's one of the channels that I'm trying to support. He and I are also going to do a presentation in, I want to say, the Saturday after next, where we're going to do a watch party of Metropolis to try to get him, and frankly also myself, some watch hours. But he's a lot closer to monetization than I am. And frankly, he's a lot better at streaming. So as are you, Gorilla's Random Thought. CODIS fact search. Currently looking out my window as 3 individuals not born here walk freely past my house. One just dropped an empty bottle. Oh, and Gorilla's Random Thought is going to try to. They can be happy with my foot up there, posterior. That's good. That's good stuff. I'm going to just have to shut that one down because I keep going to that tab instead of this one. I love that she's, I mean, I'm sure these are just photo ops or little more than photo ops, but I love that she's there. I don't doubt that at least a little bit of time was actually spent helping. One of the few times when I was actually proud of Trump, it never is brought up, but whatever that hurricane was that was happening around the time of the 2016 election, he went out and physically helped load cases of bottled water. Again, I know it's a photo op, but he was there helping out. And even if it is for a photo op, I love that because I don't think that there are many politicians doing anything that's really worthwhile at all as far as helping. But yeah, that was only reported by his own thing. It didn't make it to the news at all. CODIS fact search. Crime is skyrocketing. It's my fault because I was born, asked for it, obviously, the wrong gender, wrong ethnicity. YouTube is getting better at recognizing people evading the censors. Yeah, I hate that. It's a hurricane. Highly suggest YouTube the term hurricane or restamp restomp the groin. Yeah, Connie Cleary, we don't like censors. This is one of the if the Democrats want me to stop hopping up and down, the quickest way for them to do that is to stop censoring people. I know I have leftist and centrist friends that will remind me that Republicans do it too, and then they do. I just believe personally that the Democrats do it profoundly more dangerously. That's why you hear me complaining about them so much instead of being a true centrist. So
to know that in the midst of so much chaos and death and destruction, it is so awe-inspiring to see how people who have lost everything but the clothes on their back are not in a corner feeling sorry for themselves. They are stepping up and saying, hey, how can I help my neighbor? Just on this street that we were on, talking with some of the residents here, they were so busy helping someone else evacuate and get out of their home that they didn't realize their own home was being burnt to ash at that very moment. But in the meantime, I ask you to join me in sending your prayers and your love, your thoughts, and your aloha during this incredibly tragic and trying time. I'm here with my friend Kai Lenny, who was
I know I shouldn't do this, but since I've made all the other mistakes in this podcast, I'll be in my bunk. Okay, I'm through with that.
Was really among the very first on the ground in West Maui responding to this most tragic fire. It's been a year. It's hard to believe that this much time has passed. And I got to tell you, I travel a lot all over the country, and almost everywhere I go, there's at least one person, but usually more than a few, who stop and ask, how are the people on Maui doing? There's been many prayers and donations and people who have been keeping our friends, our family, our neighbors in Lahaina and West Maui and all of Maui in their hearts. I want to bring in Kai Lenny here, and we'll go over kind of just a brief summary of what happened a year ago, why this is significant for us to mark this anniversary today, and really where things are now. As you know, headlines move very quickly. The country was watching. People around the world were watching what was happening in this tragic fire. It was the worst wild.
Again, this was a step that pulled me closer to the right. Basically watching one of the bluest states there is. And I also want to acknowledge something Codis Facts is saying. Also ask him a question. Is that hurricane, is that a channel that you're recommending? I'm not sure that I understand the comment, but all politicians do it. Yeah. Democrats are the single measurable worst at the moment. 60 years ago, it was the repukes. And yeah, we all, I think, well, we may not remember Nixon, but we remember the after effects. Yeah, no, I know. It's a phrase used in a channel. Okay.
Fire that the United States.
Oh, and I didn't finish my thought. Chronic fatigue sucks. Don't have it. Watching one of the bluest states that there is, if it had happened in Oklahoma, which is just about the reddest state that there is and where I live, I could kind of understand. You're not going to vote for us. You're a poor state. You're a bunch of dumb rednecks. Don't deserve to live. You're having a problem. Go deal with it. This is Hawaii. Oh, enter the dojo show. Yeah, I'm going to type that in now, or I will forget it later, because that's what I do. Enter the dojo. Pops right up. Oh, yeah. I have seen that guy. Oh, my gosh. He is so funny. He actually is much better than me. I probably, if I had any martial arts skills at all, I would probably be doing something like that. But essentially, loyal Democrats, their homes are on fire. The local and the national government just did an abysmal job with helping the people out there. I noticed that she's talking about people helping people, but I noticed that it's not the government that's helping them out. It's each other. And Biden comes over and he's booed, and people are very angry because, sure, he came over to do a photo op. Great. But, BlackRock's coming in offering 10 cents on the dollar for their homes. And, there were rumors that I'm not going to spread because I don't know enough about them, about certain celebrities doing X, Y, and Z. I don't know anything about that, but there was a lot of anger in that state toward the federal government. And while I'm trying to preach against hate, I'm not necessarily saying we shouldn't be angry. There is a a righteous anger that is deserved here. And that that was an eye opener to one of my liberal friends who, for at least a week or two, quit hopping up and down about how great Biden was. But anyway,
States of America has seen in over 100 years. But as the world turns and events happen, headlines move very quickly. And our concern from the very beginning was that the people of Maui would be forgotten. Their stories, their hardship, and their tragedy and loss would be forgotten in the chaos and the constantly fast-moving headlines. So thank you to all of you who have been asking about how they're doing. Those of you who have been keeping the people of Maui in your heart, in your hearts, and in your prayers. And for those of you who may be tuning in and don't know or don't remember exactly what happened, 102 people were killed because of this tragic and historic wildfire that occurred on August 8th and 9th on Maui, in West Maui. It was hurricane force winds whipping across the islands. There were multiple fires. Flames ultimately claimed at least 19 homes and scorched over 1,000 acres. There were many, many more homes and buildings that were destroyed. And I'm going to go over a few quick, fast facts here that have come out. There was a lot of questions. There are still a lot of questions, but there was a lot of information coming from all different directions. Communications lines were broken down. Different levels of government weren't talking to each other. There were a lot of hardships and failures that occurred in the response to this tragedy. But I'm going to give you a summary of what we know now. Federal officials estimate damages at $5.5 billion, with over 2,200 structures destroyed.
And I want to pause it so that YouTube doesn't ding me, hopefully, and also to acknowledge DJ Ronnie G. Thank you very much for being here. He did a stream responding to a video about astro-colonialism. It was about Protector of the Mountain making a big deal about various institutions building huge telescopes in Hawaii. Interesting. He probably can't send the link. Let me get back in here. I'm going to, at least temporarily, make you a, while you listen to me again, DJ Ronnie G, add as a moderator. There you go. Hopefully, please don't make me regret that, but that way you can share the link in the chat. So, and for that matter, have I made you a moderator? I don't think I have. CODIS Fact Search. I am reticent in my stuff. So, okay. And Gorilla's Random Thoughts, let me know if you'd like me to make you a moderator as well. But let's see. People should be angry, and sadly, most don't care. Yeah, I guess maybe I shouldn't be quite as upset with my liberal friends. At least they are caring. I think they're buying way too many lies, but they do at least care. So that is better than nothing. I just think that we've descended too far into hate. We've allowed it to cloud our judgment. I know I have. And so in the past, I hope I'm in a better place now. But as for the fires last year, sometimes I wonder, DJ Ronnie says, I don't think it was done on purpose. Yeah, I don't really think that either. I've heard those conspiracy theories, but I do think that once the damage was done, those with special interest pounced on it. And I agree with that. That is exactly how I feel about it. The children who weren't found after the fires were probably trafficked to the private island a few miles away, according to Maura Kitty, and I don't doubt she's right. And I'm going to talk about it only because you're bringing it up. There was that conspiracy theory that Oprah hired security to stop people from looking near her property. And actually, that part is not a conspiracy theory. That's actually true. But there was the conspiracy theory that she was behind a lot of things and this and that. But she did hire security to stop people from looking near her property. Make of that what you want. There's definitely two ways to look at that, but people were very upset with her. I don't have a dog in the fight because I just don't know enough about that topic to really give an intelligent reference. But I know you know a lot of things that I don't. So, DJ Ronnie G, all these normal and poor people using all the good land. Oh, good fire. Get them out. Yeah. Residents of Lithuania got $750 while Ukrainian residents averaged $1,500 per Ukrainian at the time. Wow. This is the link. So please feel free to go there. I'm going to click on it myself. Again, because if I don't do it now, I'll forget to do it later. I guarantee it. Okay. But I don't want to play it now. I just want it there. Okay. Gorilla's random thoughts. I think I'm in a generous mood. And if I'm willing to make people moderators, I'm just going to have moderators all over the place. I know it probably is smart for me to have more because certain things might not have happened on this channel if I'd had more moderators. All right. DJ Ronnie G is also saying, everyone we disagree with generally means well. Yeah, and precious few know how to agree to disagree. And that is true. The friends that I'm hopping up and down about, I kept quiet for a long, long time about these things because they are good people. They've helped me through some incredibly hard times. And so it feels a little unfair to be talking about it. But it also scares the shit out of me when I hear intelligent and loving and wonderful people. They're basically promulgating the hate that they're being taught by all the alphabet soup, big media people. And it's a helpless feeling because how do you wake them up? I don't know. And so instead, I'm on here with this community, knowing that I have a listening ear and just whining about it. I'm so sorry, Gorilla's random thought. I hate censorship. That is, I do think that while we should stop hating people or at least back off on it, we need to continue to hate certain things. Censorship is one thing that I think we actually need to hate. Yeah, I'll probably go there here in about 30 minutes. Mr. Londell has a presentation, so I'm going to try to wrap this up in about 20 minutes. You should change your name. Gorilla's Random Thoughts should change his name to Gorilla's Censored Thoughts. That is a good idea. That's a wonderful idea. Happy to share a decent idea on occasion. Thank you very much. I love this community. It's such a good bunch of people. Okay. Since I only have 20 minutes, I'm going to skip to another video that I wanted to share. And okay. This is Tulsi Gabbard commenting on who is really in power. Well, now I can't find the video. Thank you, Google, for being so supportive. Here, I'll share this one instead because I'm sure it will be good. This is the channel Jocko Podcast Clips. I have yet to see a bad Jocko's podcast clip.
Is in the midst of an existential.
I'm curious to know what her answer is, and I would be happy if y'all would just let me know in the chat what you think about that. I've already stated what I think, but in spite of the way I do things, I really am not intending to tell people how to think. But I would be curious to know, what do you guys think? Is there a substantive difference? I know CODIS Fact Search had shared that the Democratic Party, in his opinion, and I both respect and agree with his assessment, is the more dangerous one now. But I would be really fascinated to know what you guys think.
It is, though.
And if you don't believe that, you may not be able to find it on Google, but go to X and look up the articles that came out during the Trump assassination attempt. And you will, I don't know how you can not see, by looking at those articles and looking at the event as it transpired, the only way you can believe that there's not bias is by being deliberately blind, or by making the assumption that the Republican Party is so bad that it justifies this level of partisanship. And I firmly disagree. I don't see it as being the worst of the two parties. It's bad. Don't get me wrong. It's definitely bad. It's hard to hold my head up as a Republican, but yeah, I humbly suggest the Democrats are profoundly worse. And she saw it and she left. The paradox that I want to comment on here is I love the thought that Reagan had. Reagan made some mistakes, but I love a lot of the things that he said. But of course, we have to evaluate people by what they did, not by what they said. But where I'm going with this is the idea that if you and I agree about 80% of things, and we love our country and want it to be a better country, let's work on that 80%. Let's, we can deal with that other 20% when we've made things better on that 80%. Having said that, when it's the big elites that are agreeing on 80 or 90% of the things, the danger to me is that where they agree is in that they hate us. They think, again, I'm doing your thinking for you, and I shouldn't, but I do feel that. And I know feelings aren't what matter, facts do. But I think you can look at what they're doing and at least be forgiven for thinking that someone who does these things hates us, thinks we are stupid, thinks we're not capable of running our own lives, thinks that they know better than we do how to run our lives. And that ain't cool. I hope I'm still here. Can you still hear me? Yeah, anyway, hopefully that. DJ Ronnie G, that basically sums up the prevailing attitude. Those guys are Yahtzees, XYZ. It's not only justified, but it is our moral obligation. Exactly. This is why I'm not sticking up for Trump because I think he's a wonderful guy. It's because I think we've gone down this dangerous slope of thinking that he is literally the Antichrist. I have had a person on my channel, maybe he was just joking, but but he made that illusion that Trump is the Antichrist. And I think that's the dangerous thinking, because when you have demonized someone, even Biden or Hillary Clinton, who I actually think is more dangerous than Biden ever was. But anyway, demonizing them is not going to help, because then you're justified in anything that you do. Any lie that you tell about them is justified. Any violence that you do, it's all justified, because they're evil and they're demons. And that's the thing that I want to be backing away from. You know, I'm don't care if you, as much as I'm hopping up and down, I really don't care if you're pro Biden, if you're pro Trump, whatever. But please don't do this thing where they're so very evil that anything we do is justified to take them down. That's why the summer of riots was okay and January 6th wasn't. Yeah, and frankly, with some respect to my liberal friends, I am sick and tired of having to silence all my speech because January 6th happened. One, I was not there. Two, if I was there, I probably wouldn't have participated in violence because I'm only a threat to someone who threatens me. Literally, that's it. If you don't threaten me, I'm not going to do anything. But at the same time, I think that we need to be intellectually honest and understand that some of the people there had legitimate reasons for being very upset with the government. And unless we're willing to deal with those legitimate things, it's intellectually dishonest to basically say, well, January 6th happened, so that means the political opposition is completely corrupt, completely full of crap, it has no good ideas, and they're just evil, and we have to do anything we can to run them out of existence, basically. DJ Ronnie G, Reagan gets blamed for random things when multiple presidents had opportunities to remedy those issues. So it's a good point. If you don't like the things that Reagan did, we've had 40 years. And the things that, I have what I think are legitimate complaints about Reagan. The closing of the small banks, I think that was unconscionable and wrong. And while I am willing to listen to the argument that may not, I doubt that was his idea. It happened too early in his administration. I think that was the idea of the permanent state that she's talking about. Having said that, it did happen under his watch, and therefore I think it's legitimate to criticize Reagan about it. Having said that, we've had 40 years, and those banks haven't been reestablished. The small farmers that were getting those loans, they're still not getting loans. Nothing has been done to correct the situation. So why keep blaming Reagan about it? It's one of the reasons why I don't bring it up that much. It literally bankrupted my family. It's put a shadow over my entire fucking life. But one, I can't use that as a crutch and blame everything that's happened on that. And number two, we've had 40 years. We should have fixed it by now. I'm not going to really harp about Reagan doing that when, simply put, we just haven't fixed it. CODIS Fact Search has just joined a club. Yes, you didn't know, but I'm seducing you to the dark side. No, I'm just glad you're here. I'm just glad that we're a community, and I'm hopefully trying my best to make it. I think that Troy Picelli deleted scenes. I've gotten a little bit of experience with Gorilla's Random Thoughts. I think some of you guys, Moira Kitty, do wonderful jobs with having, even though it may be small, but having a community of people that care about each other, care about these things. DJ Ronnie G, there's violence on January 6th. Well, here's another thing. Look, I'm not going so far as to saying that there wasn't any violence, but how much of it was freaking agents that were sent out there to stir up trouble? I don't want to reveal the person because they want to keep their secrets, but I know someone who's worked with some of these intel agencies, and hopefully I'm quoting him right. If I'm not, hopefully he'll let me know. But that's been going on for decades. A lot of these riots have instigators in them that are hired often by the freaking Democrat Party. And I know I'm making an outrageous claim, and I've got little to back it up except for a very knowledgeable person. Not me, sadly. I mean, I'm not as knowledgeable as them, is what I mean by that. But it's been going on for decades. We've been lied to so much. It makes you understand why people do become conspiracy theorists. Yeah, and that's a valid point. Respectfully to my left-leaning friends, an officer had a heart attack a week later, so they arranged to have a big funeral procession convoy in his home state with flags hanging over from the overpasses. And don't get me wrong, I feel bad for the officer. I'm sorry that happened to him. But having said that, we've been lied to and told that there were dozens of deaths and all kinds of stuff. There was essentially one. I don't mean to poo-poo that. That's still one too many. But nothing compared to the riots that the other side embraced as peaceful protests. Where's the intellectual honesty? CODIS fact search history. Reagan was against private gun ownership from California governor to president. Yeah, and you're not wrong there. You're not wrong there. Reagan was a politician and one-time bad actor. Oh, come on. I disagree with you. Bedtime for Bonzo changed my life. I love you, sir. CODIS fact search. Officer heart attack wasn't the sixth fault, is the donuts. Yeah. Andrew Jackson was the last good president. I know how you feel about Andrew Jackson. I need to do more research about him. Be careful you don't mistake the Indian Wars of his time with modern views. Yeah, no, that's a valid point too. People have changed their views about Andrew Jackson. And I'll be honest, I allowed myself to have my views of him changed, and it's probably not right or fair. I need to do more research on him. Never before have I ever seen, according to DJ Ronnie, ever seen a heart attack blamed on a rough day at work the week prior. DJ Ronnie G, as for Reagan and Second Amendment, yeah, I know. I may be mistaken, so please correct me if I'm wrong, CODIS fact search, but I know that Ronald Reagan was pretty prohibitive of black people owning guns in California. I don't, there's probably more that I don't know, but CODIS fact search, evidence supports what I'm saying. Yeah, thank you. TJ Ronnie G, Old Hickory. Yep, Old Hickory. One of the very few presidents not from a long time ago, politician family. Yeah, he, whatever else you may think of him, he is one of those people who raised himself up from his own freaking bootstraps. Yeah, Reagan, it's from what I know, and I don't know enough, but he always talked like he was a big proponent of the Second Amendment, but really not so much. I won't go too deep into that. But yeah, Reagan As much as I still love him, I'm just saying that because it's true, not because it's necessarily right. But he had holes in his armor. He sure did. He wasn't all that in a bag of chips. Okay, I'm down to just a few minutes. So let me... I'm going to spend at least some of that time on the real reason why she left the Democrat Party. I'm going to choose this one.
Tulsi, great to have you with us here today.
Hey, Don. Finally, we keep missing each other every.
And yes, I know Donald Jr., he's the bad guy. He's a racist, yada, 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 yada. Not saying he's a good person, but yeah, a lot of lies told about this family. And I'm sure a lot of lies told about the Clinton family too. So no one's perfect. Codus Fact Search. At the end of the day, what we will see in history is that there are no heroes, and the villains are often put in the same status simply because their side wins. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Every time.
I know,
From
like
this
like
city or
ships
that
passing
city
in
or
the night. We
whatever.
literally miss each other by like 6 hours. So having this conversation, it's up here on the live
Skip
stream.
some of the pleasantries.
And even for the last couple of months, you're thrown out as a VP potential hopeful. Some people love, some people scared. They don't know what to sort of make of it. But you've been pretty clear. You've been attacked by the Democrat Party. When did you realize you no longer fit that party mold? What moments really stand out to you in all of this?
Well, Don, before you came on, or actually when you first started your opening comments, I took a look at the comments coming in as well, and to all of you who have questions or concerns, this is one of the reasons why I wrote this book. I joined the Democratic Party over 20 years ago when I first ran for state house here in Hawaii. I was 21 years old. The Democratic Party looked completely different back then, even 10 years ago, looked quite different than it does today. I can't tell you that there was one singular moment that caused me to say, okay, this is it. The Democratic Party has left me behind. But it was a continued escalation of events and comments and the overall mentality that showed that the Democrat Party of today does not care about our country. They don't care about the Constitution. They certainly don't care about the American people. They care about one thing, and that's power. And everything that we've seen play out in the Biden administration over the last 3.5 years points to exactly that objective. Whether we're talking about what's happening at the border, or we're talking about the lawfare and the misuse of the Department of Justice and law enforcement to go after their foremost political opponent, President Trump, as well as others who have the audacity just to challenge their position or speak up in opposition to it, they too are targeted. I go into my book. My book is For Love of Country, Leave the Democrat Party Behind. And I go into each of these really big issues that I wanted to focus on that all kind of center into our fundamental rights, our God-given rights and freedoms enshrined in the Constitution, and how the
all valid points, but while I love the lady, I don't really feel like selling her book. But I love the points that she's making. Have a great day, sir. I need to be wrapping this up. Long and the short. One, yes, we need to clamp down on the hate, but please make no mistake, the Democratic Party and the elites in the Republican Party, they do not care about you. They do not have brilliant foreign policy. They don't care about liberty. In fact, they want to curtail it. I think one of the most revealing things was the interview between Don Lemon and Elon Musk. I could talk forever, but I got to get going, and I know you guys have got to get going. So while I did pretty nearly everything else wrong, I will guide us out with the soft porno music that I use. I have left some links in the chat. So please, if you don't have another place to go to, yeah, Don Lemon was, in my humble opinion, did not shine in that interview. It was portrayed as Elon being unfair and being censorious, but the irony is Don Lemon was the one who was being censorious. Oh, I made a lot of mistakes on this one, but I appreciate you. You're very kind. I love this community because of that. You're very forgiving of people's honest failings. Well, let me thank everyone that showed up today and call it a stream. I would like to thank John Pontiero, otherwise known as JPRPH1. One of these days we need to do another stream, maybe talk about some poetry or talk about the tick. Thank you very much. Moira Kitty, meow meow, you're very supportive, very knowledgeable, and very feisty. Thank you, Codus Fact Search. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the knowledge. Thank you very much, Mr. Lundell's Groovy Movies. I hope that as many of you as can will go and watch his presentation coming up in just 7 minutes. Thank you very much, Gorilla's Random Thoughts. You not only made one of my streams, you made it much better. I thank you so much for that. Thank you very much, Connie Cleary. I can't say enough how much I value having you on here, having you monitor and things. Someday we need to do another interview. This time I promise I'll try to do it better and right. But you were wonderful in that, and I thank you. It was one of my five. I think it was my 5th or 6th most viewed live stream. I think pretty close to it. And who else have I got here? I feel like I'm leaving somebody out, and I don't want to do. Oh yes, DJ Ronnie G. How could I forget? The chronic fatigue is real. Thank you very much, and thank you for sharing your clip. I'm going to go to Mr. Lundell's and then probably watch your show there. So, I love everyone that showed up today. Remember that the fight isn't necessarily against flesh and blood. It's not necessarily against Biden or the Clintons or people. It's against this spiritual or intellectual force that says that liberty is wrong. We're not good enough to be free. We don't deserve to be free. Sometimes I wonder if that's true, but even if it is, I don't think these blankety blanks need to be the ones calling the shots. Thanks again for listening. I will probably try to edit out the first little bit, and have a wonderful Saturday.